So I'll start with XRP, and I'm on the 1 hour, and I'll start with this chart. Yesterday I was talking about price action. It was around here, and I was talking about it doing a potential push down. Maybe it was here. Was it here? Yeah, here. Doing a push down here, potentially is looking like it might come back to about 47.80, which it did, and then it broke through again. And I did say watch for a back test of the channel here. So I was thinking I might get down a little further, but it didn't. So the two entry points I suggested was 47.80 or so, or if you don't catch that one, is let it push down, and then watch for the back test. It'll come back and back test this channel, which is just done now. Yeah. So now this is a good opportunity for a short, and I'll show you why when I go into the MAs. Yeah, is on the 5 minute. Is the stock is at the bottom here. It's at the bottoming out. So I would wait until the 5 minute comes back up. Yeah. However, let me just qualify that for a sec. Yeah. So you can see that it topped out and it's coming back down. Let me just see where the 15 minute is. Okay, the 15 minute has bottomed out, but I reckon the 15 minute has another push in it. So I would suggest that wait for the 5 minute stock to come back to the top again. It'll probably be around the 20 MA here, the pink line. It'll probably be around 48 or so. And then I believe there'll be another push down. Now I'll qualify that by going look at the half hour stock. That's only started to come down, and that lift has given time for the 45 minute stock to get back to the top. The 90 minute is back to the top. You can see it's just turning now. It's in the oversold and it's turning. The hour is also back at the top. And more importantly is the 2 hour is back for a bigger, stronger push down. And the 3 and 4 hour were the ones I'm a little cautious about. So you can see the top of the stock here is the top of this, the peak of price action here. Yeah. So it took all this sideways to bring the stock back down, and you can see it's done a couple of lifts and drops. So normally you can get a couple of these in before it really needs to reset. So potentially is the 3 hour will have another turn down, and it'll break. The 3 hour will break the 50 MA and the 55, and we'll have that proper spill. And I reckon that spill will probably do a bit of a test at the 100 here, and probably get down to the 200 here at 37.63, and then the 3 hour and the 4 hour. So 4 hours in a similar position. They will do a bigger reset. And that would be like the mid-range high here. So you'll see more sideways here. There'll be a final lift and then a final dump, and we get our final drop. So if it corrects to a full 786, it's looking at about 36 or so. Yeah, about 36 or so. So that would be the two targets I would suggest would be 36, and probably a safer target is, if I just go back here, the 200 here, about 38. About 38 is a safer target. Yeah, excuse me. So now is why am I more confident in that today than I was yesterday? Well, one of the things I said I needed to see happen today happened. Is the 5 MA on the daily took a turn down. So that's a really good sign. So now for sure is the price action can bounce off the 10 here at 44.70 or so, and then break on up and this can be a 3, 4, and there's another 5. It can be that. I don't think it is, especially when the 5 turns. It took an awful lot of consolidation for this 5 to turn down. So I reckon we're heading down for a fuller correction. That's what I was waiting on. Yeah. So equally as well, down on the bottom left here is you can see this bearish divergence here. So there was a bearish divergence in this place in price action, and it hasn't triggered. It hasn't actually triggered yet. So I reckon this is it. This is it kicking in now. Yeah. So now, what do I want to go to next? I think I want to go to. I'll go to the support and resistance lines. So I'll zoom out here a little bit so you can hopefully see this a little clearer. If I put it on the 4-hour. I have a lot of lines here. I'll zoom in. Okay. So locally, as you can see that it topped out, came back down, and the price action was bouncing between this red line and this red line, and they're 2 4-hour support and resistance lines. So you can see it's after breaking through this 4-hour, and it's after back testing it. So now it's back testing, and I reckon that it's coming down for the next 4-hour, and again that's at 43.90 or so, so 44 or so. I reckon there might be a little bit of a retrace here, and then we'll get it pushing its way all the way down to 38 here, which is the next 4-hour line. So I reckon 38 is a solid touch. It might get its way all the way down to 30. What did I say? 36. 36 around here. If it wants to do a full 786, and if it hits 36, is look at the wedge here. So there's an argument for it coming to 36. Here's this the bear channel wedge all the way down, and if it does a full 786, it'll be coming down to back test the midline here. So you can see it got rejected here, broke it here, and now if we're going to get that bigger lift up, is potentially we're coming down to do a back test on this center line at 36, and that would be the 786. So that all fits very nicely. Yeah. So that, and then we get the bounce, and then we'll get the arc potentially. We'll get a consolidation phase. This is skyline. This will be third spike by the time it sorts itself out. Double top, first drop, mountain peak, probably all the way back up to here. Third drop, final peak, final bounce. And if we're going to break out, there's the consolidation phase in this section, and then off it goes. Yeah, so that's one story. The other one that I can see is that on the bigger scale, take this out of here. On the bigger scale, we have. I actually have it on a chart here. Where is it? Saves me. Okay, so on a bigger scale, again, the wedge is coming down here. Is this a skyline? First spike, resistance peak, second spike, mid-range high. So if this is correct, is that what we're in now is the blow off top of the pump before the dump in mid-range high. Mid-range high always has that blow off, or most times has that blow off, and comes down, and we could be coming down for third spike. And that would fit in. That would fit in with, actually I have it here already. That would fit in with the bigger impulse and correction all the way down to a 786 at 21 cent or so. Maybe even just a 702 at 26 or 27. Yeah. But so that would fit in as well. So it's really hard to know. Sentiment in the market is terribly negative. It's so negative that normally in these times when everybody thinks it's going to go down, that's the time when it pumps up. So there is that element to it. But equally, crypto's never been through what is going through now with the fundamentals of the world. So I suppose if the stock market is going to go, is crypto is going to go with it, yeah. So we just got to see, how that plays out, yeah. So now if I go to the EMAs, here's the EMAs. Let's have a look what the EMAs are doing, yeah. So you can see top left is the 5 minute. So the 5 minute is, we've had this impulse up. Looks like the 5 minute, the 20 is going to cross through the 55 pretty soon. And we need to see a price action breakthrough. Want to see the MAs break through the VWAP here, the yellow, so that the VWAP becomes resistance again. Yeah. On the top right is the 15 minute again. If we get the 20 here crossing through the VWAP and the 55, that's going to be a big pump. Anytime the 20 crosses through the VWAP and the 55 it's always a bigger pump, yeah, push. At the same time, if you look at bottom left, is the half hour. So you can see how the half hour, it had its drop up here. Here's its back test, and it looks like the 20 is going to get rejected and head on down, yeah. And then equally, here's the hour over on the right, it had its crossover. Here's its back test, and again, it looks like we're coming down for another drop, yeah. So that's it. We still need to see it drop. We still need to see it drop. But when I showed you the stock RSI, they're all reset back to the top, all the shorter time frames. So they're ready for another push down, yeah. Then this one here, this is the last one I'm going to talk about, yeah. And again, these are my arguments for an up and a down, because again, I can see both. I think everybody can see both. This is the daily, and this blue and white are the EMAs. This is the EMA ribbon band, and you can see on the daily it crossed over here, and we got a pump. And you know yourself, I repeat it all the time, is that you get the initial pump. Then you get the back test to the 55. And then from there, if it holds, you get a greater pump. If it fails, you get a collapse through, and again you get a drop in the other direction. Yeah. So that's how the 55 holds on the daily, I think is going to be the decision maker. And that at the moment is at 38. So it certainly looks like price action is going to come back to at least 38. Possibly even a wick through to the 50 here, yeah. So make sure which 50 this is. It's the 50 MA. That other green one is the 50 EMA. Okay, so just make sure I'm correct here. Yes, I am. Okay. So that SMA. This is the 50 SMA. So that looks like that is to me it's going to happen, especially with the 5 MA on the dailies after turning down. So that'll give a strong push. So I think by the end of the day we'll see this as a long wick and it'll turn red, and we'll at least maybe get down to the 20 today at 42 or so. So now when I look at these, I think the 5-day is also going to be very important for that. So here's the 5-day with a long rejection candle on it at the moment, yeah, and the 5-day is turning tomorrow. The 5-day is going to turn tomorrow. So I think what's going to happen tomorrow on the 5-day is the VWAP is going to take a sharp turn, and again we'll get a push down today, and maybe tomorrow we'll get a stronger push down. Possibly. So now I'm going to go to the weekly. Just to show you this, is on the bigger time frame, is look on the weekly, is the MA's crossed over up here months ago now in April at 81.49, 81.50. It pushed down, it came back up, and look, it's back testing to the 55. So now this is the same thing. When the cross is over, you get the initial push, you get the back test. If it gets rejected, there's another push down. Okay, now when you go to the 2-week, which turned there the other day as well, is look, it back tested to the 20 and the 50 on the 2-week, and the 2-week has crossed over as well here. So there's still a lot of pressure coming down. When we look at all the MAs that are underneath giving it a push. There's definitely a solid lift. And you can see the 200s down here are being a lot of support. But there's still a lot of pressure coming down from the top. So that decision seems to need to be made, yeah? Now I'm going to go back to the daily for a sec, okay? I was just pointing this out to Mihaela here. Look at how the general pattern here is. What happens? You get a drop, you get a weak lift, comes back down. Now you get a breakthrough to 55, gets rejected. Now you get a proper breakthrough to 55. Bounces back to the 55. If it holds, we get a bigger push. If it fails, it'll come back down, and we'll get our last leg down. Yeah. So now that's on the daily. Now it's playing out the same pattern, I believe, is playing out on the weekly. So now look on the weekly is we get the drop, but on the weekly, I'll get this out of the way. We get the drop, but on the weekly, here's the weaker attempt. And then down here. Now here's the one that tests and gets rejected. So we come back to the 38 at least. We get rejected. We might even come down a little further. We might have that lower low. And then we come back up and we break through the 55. And then we have the back test and the 55 holds. And then we have the bigger lift. So on the weekly, the daily is suggesting there's a good chance of a break up. But on the weekly is suggesting that this is the first attempt to break through the 20 and the 55. It's going to get rejected. There could be a pretty strong rejection from it. And then it comes back up and has a go again. Once it breaks the weekly, then we have that support and up we go. And at the same time, that would allow the daily, that would allow the 50, the 20 and the 55 on the daily to be support for when it's going to break the weekly. So I know I'm saying a lot there, but the daily looks very pumpy. The weekly looks like rejection. That's really what I'm trying to say. So it just depends on which one is gonna win out. Yeah. And while the weekly is rejecting, equally look at the daily. Here's the 200s up here. It's getting rejected by the 200 MA, and then up here is the 200 SMA. So these guys still have to be passed as well. So if anything, even if it is going to break up, we're still going to have to bounce, have another go, bounce again, have another go. We'll have a lift like that, yeah. So anyway, so that's the play of it. So I think the decider is 38. What happens on the day, the 55 on the daily, and let's say maybe the 50 here, what happens around here is going to tell us a lot about which one is more dominant, the daily or the weekly. Because we are at the bottom. We're in and around the bottom, or we are at the bottom. So if you think about the further we go in the extremes, the later timelines are playing out. So the hourly is playing out, but also the daily becomes more dominant. Now the weekly becomes more dominant because we're really pushing the limits. So the further the price action goes in its limits, is the weeklies, even the monthlies, even the yearlies start to play out and have more dominance. So that's the question. Is there's not very often that the weekly becomes dominant, but down here is the weekly, as it goes deeper down or higher up, the weekly becomes more and more dominant. So at the moment, the dailies were playing out a lot. The question is, has the weekly then, taken prominence in control? Is the weekly going to do its thing? If you understand what I mean, yeah. Okay. So now I'm going back to simplified. I think there's a lovely short in here, and I reckon going back to the EMAs, or sorry, the stock on the, where are we going here? Okay, on the 5 minute. Here we go. So you can see, look, even in this conversation, the 5 minute is heading on up, second on the right down the bottom, yeah. So the 5-minute is heading up. So the 5-minute stock is heading up, but price action, you can see it's not getting much further. It actually looks like it might have a push down. So I would suggest there's the VWAP at 47.61. I think this is a good opportunity to go in on a short now. There may be another little lift and then it'll come down. Not much. I don't think it'll break above 48.74. If anything, it might actually come down and just do a push through and break the 200. If you wanted to feel a little bit more secure, is wait for it to break the 200 on the 5-minute, which is 47.34. Now, when it breaks this, the 5-minute is probably going to get exhausted. So what you want to see is, you want to see it break to 200. You want to see a little bit of a back test, and when it moves away, then you can hop in. But anywhere around here, I think it's a small little space to be in. Is you could put a short in here, and even if you just let it just play out, it'll find its way down. So that's what I believe the space it's in now is it's a good opportunity to go short. And a target, I don't think 38 or 36 is a daily target. I think probably maybe 44 or 42 is a daily target. If you wanted to stay in for a couple of days, is 36 to 38 cent is a good target. Yeah. So I think now is a good time to enter. If you're looking for, say, a daily target, I reckon there's a level there. I reckon 42 is a good candidate today. And then the next couple of days is anything between 36 and 38 will be a good target as well. Yeah. So there are my thoughts. I'll leave it there, and have a great day trading, and I'll see you in the charts, and I'll hand you over to Mihaela. Yeah.
Good morning, guys. So here we are, starting with the S&P that I showed you yesterday, and again, crypto did a bit of the opposite of what the S&P did yesterday, which is quite normal. I was telling you yesterday in the stream that there's a lot of liquidity being moved around, and crypto will. Last time when this happened, crypto came down after the S&P, so it had one more breath of green air and then started coming down. So we've broken through this level, which I believe is level 2. We have at the moment what looks like a double bottom, but for that to happen, we should see some sort of recovery, so that we have some confirmation this is a double bottom, and we're keeping it and we're recovering from it. Now this line could be somewhere around here as well. I put it here because I had more touches here. Again, we can put it down here and we would still have nice balance on the left side. If today we reach it, I think I'm gonna move it. But anyways, we are on level 2 according to my count on the S&P drop. I'm gonna start with Bitcoin because it's I always start with Ethereum, and I feel I've left sort of like Bitcoin just abandoned it. So yesterday what we did was we back tested. I'll show you in a second on the daily. I told you that it looked like we were going to back test the 20 and possibly even the 55 in the stream, and that's what happened, which is perfectly normal. It's one of those. It's one of the back test patterns. We haven't found support on the 55 on the daily. We haven't broken the daily divergence line, and we haven't broken this yellow line, which is the overflow area of this huge descending channel. When we do that, for sure, we're going to have a super relief rally after all of this drop. So these to me would be the 3 steps, the 3 flags on the way up for Bitcoin. At the moment, we are just backtesting the 20 and probably backtesting the 55. I'm not sure we're going to get there, But the stochastic yesterday was heading up, and when that happens, it generally has a lift. Now, we have rehabilitated, so this was my 15-minute arc, and we've gone past the mountain peak, and so this is the breakout. Now we need to see if this is gonna hold outside of the arc, come back to test it, and then head upwards. Then we're looking at a bigger level test. But I don't think that will happen. What I think this is a fake out, and it looks like we've broken out, which I've seen happen, and then we break back in and we actually break down. To show you what I mean on the levels, this is a support line that we've been holding for a while, almost more than 3 months, and now we've broken back in, as we have here as well. Now if we hold this support line, I believe the next one to hold would be the 22,000. If we hold the 22,000, yes, we might have greater chances of actually breaking out towards the 31K, because the 25 has been already tested. So at the moment, we're just testing and back testing the bottom line of this support structure. I have the support structure in multiple forms, so this is one of them, and the one that we generally do our trade setups is this one. I'll switch off Traders Reality now. So yesterday I was telling you that these were the arrows that I put on as pats yesterday. So yesterday I told you that I do see the next level being tested because of where the stochastics were heading. Let me change to the 1 hour. It's clearer with all the sideways. So we did see the 19.5. We did see the 20 get tested. Now the 20 is a big psychological level for Bitcoin. Now the next level will be somewhere around 21.5, and just to round it off would be 22. So if we hold the 20 and then we hold the 22, chances are we will see a nice relief rally. But that to me is the less likely scenario. I believe this was just a breather pump. This was just catching out the liquidity that was above the 20,000. And by that I mean stop losses, liquidations. It is a psychological level, and it did burst through it. We have on the shorter time frames, on the 15-minute, we have already bottomed out on the stochastic. So I believe London will hold it around this range, and then New York will start reversing. Mondays are famous for fake moves. Yesterday we did see a lift, so I believe we might be in for a couple of days of a drop. That's what I think this week is going to play out in terms of moves. Again, I'll have to see how this level plays out. The 1 hour is in the overbought quite massively, and what's very worrying for me, what's really indicating this is very heavily manipulated to the upside, is that we have been here at the bottom, we came up here to the top, we haven't reached back to the bottom. Generally there's this up down. We need to tick outside of the box before we move to the same direction. So if we're at the bottom and we go up to the top, we need to hit the bottom again before we go to the top, and this one didn't, not even on the 1 hour. So it didn't on the 15-minute, it didn't do it on the 1 hour, and but what it did was it did it on the 4 hour towards the top. So what I'm trying to say is that the 1 hour was sort of like forced for the 4 hour to get to the top. The 4 hour has got to the top, the stochastic is up at the top, it's reached the 200 EMA. On Traders Reality, it's reached the M5 today and last week's high, the high average daily range as well, which is where it's going to cost a lot more for the market maker to push it higher. So at the moment, we'll have to wait and see what this level is holding, how this level is holding. I'm using these lifts to DCA in on my short. I think we're gonna go for a bigger drop. So I'm not trading against the trend here because I don't have any reasons to believe the trend will change to the upside. If I do, if I see the 20 on the daily being held with conviction and everything looking great for the lift, then I will. But at the moment, I'm not. So volumes are dropping here. The stochastic and the RSI are maxed out. So again, I don't see this going anywhere but down for the moment, for the coming days, possibly even weeks. But again, short term, I think we're gonna do a correction, and it's gonna head downwards to meet the daily target. Again, I rarely see daily targets not being met. We've been on this level for all this while. This is what happened here. This is what happened here before it collapsed. So I believe we're on track for the next level down. That's how I read it. I don't have any fundamental reasons to believe otherwise. I'll have to watch it today to see that it does break the support line, because it is above a support line. It is holding it. So I want to stay as technical as possible and put my bias to the side. It's above a trend line. Once that trend line is broken, and I'm not going to change my 15-minute arc, I'm going to leave it as is because I want to follow the fake out. Like this is this if it breaks back into this triangle structure, this is indicating a fake out, and it would be lovely to see it do that for my short. If you're longing, I would be taking profit because this has already printed. Let me show you. Or I would be taking part of a profit because this has already printed a double top pattern with a bearish divergence on the 15-minute. It might do a triple top, it might do a higher peak. New York generally likes to spike the high. So I see New York doing a lift and a spike if London doesn't, push it down strongly in the meantime. But I do, again, we have the bearish divergence. If you're trading on the 1 hour and if you're trading ranges, I would be taking profit because it is a double top with descending volume, bearish divergence. So it's good to get paid because it was a nice range to trade on the upside if you're if you're watching it. It's the same for Ethereum. Ethereum did what Ethereum loves to do, which is again, I believe Ethereum is going to head down for a drop now. It didn't reach the level that I was more how can I say? Maybe I was a little bit more adventurous with this level. I put a target here for Ethereum to reach. It didn't go up that high, but it did do what Ethereum loves to do, which is it does a double top, it does a higher high, and then comes down one extra level. So it did a double top, it does a higher high. These are, I believe, 5-minute arcs. They're not 15-minute ones. I think they're, because they don't have all the steps down, but on the 5-minute, I think we can see the steps down and the steps up a bit more clearly. But Ethereum did do the double top here, the higher high, and I believe now it's going to come down and break through this level of 1270. Again, I'm watching Ethereum as sort of like the movement indicator for what the coins are going to do, because its levels are so neat and it shows one step ahead what they're going to do. So again, if Ethereum breaks the 1280, 1290 area, so this support line, and we close below it, I think we're going to head down, and I think it's going to indicate that both XRP and Bitcoin are going to head down, just as a way of, alignment between the coins. where are we here? We didn't even, this is what I said will happen with Bitcoin. Now here's where the individual pattern of each coin plays out, because I thought Ethereum, I thought Bitcoin was going to do I thought Ethereum was going to do what Bitcoin did, which is test the 20 and then head down. Bitcoin went a little bit above the 20, and I believe now it's going to come down. But both the 20 and the 55 EMA on the day can be back tested and then head down. And I made the comparison in yesterday's stream between this drop and this drop. So we have consolidation above the 20 on the daily. We break it, we pierce through it again. There's another one, and then we have 1 and 2 attempts at it. We haven't even had one here. Maybe Ethereum is not strong enough to do it. We'll see what happens. But again, I think this was just a slight relief, and then we're gonna come down one more time. A bit like what happened if we're looking at the stochastic, what happened here, it rehabilitated to the upside and then started coming back down. I think we're gonna see the same thing. And again, my indication will be the regular RSI in this case, because I'm looking at the bigger, more regular pattern. We've pierced the upside, we haven't come down. We haven't come down, so I don't think we're going to go up without hitting the bottom first and then retracing upwards. So I believe the trade on the day will be a short. I would be building up my shorts around these days when I see lift, rather than longing, because I believe this might be a bit of a trap for the bulls. We do have to watch for the levels, and if they hold, we have another level up to go. If they don't hold, then we're coming back down. That's where we are. Trade safely and cautiously. Keep an eye out on the price action, and I'll see you guys tomorrow morning.